going to take a few folks to get in here. Um, I've got some interesting info that I came across. Sean Ryan, of course. This one's Sean Ryan clips, but it's kind of, I don't know, the title of it? We're being lied to. There's a surprise. Oh, he hears me talking. You gonna say something? You say something to everybody? No, you're not. Oh, 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 oh. Really? Really? Hey, you guys. It's the Teddy Show now. Teddy! Stop it! Teddy D! Teddy D! It's the Teddy Show. Ugh. Teddy! Oh, here he comes. Here it comes. Teddy. Where'd you go? No, 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 no! Teddy, come here. Teddy, come. Good boy. Come here. Up. Yay! Chill Rock, love you too. So, thank you for the hug. Bye. Oh, Teddy, you're such a dork. Oh, you gonna bring me Gator now? Well, thank you. I gotta show everybody. This is Gator. Thank you. I appreciate that. And that was him shaking Gator like a maniac. What are you doing? So, the title. Okay, DK, that's fine, brother. Whatever works. There probably won't be much to catch up on. Oh, you giving me Gator again? No, I can't play tug. I can't. Dude! Dude! Give. I can't play tug right now. You're not gonna give me Gator, huh? I can't play tug. It was the Teddy Show earlier before you came in, Show Rock. What's up, Queenie? How you doing, sis? Up, 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 up. It was the Teddy Show at the beginning. He came up and wanted to give me a kiss. So this is, his usual thing. But then he gets up and all of him is right here. Ow! Leave my foot alone. Thank you, Gator. We're doing all right. We're doing all right. Oh, what? You want Gator? Okay. Well, then, shut your ass up. Sit down. Thank you. Yes, nice catch. Oh. See you later, DK. That's what I was saying. There might not be much to... I'm not playing tug. I'm not playing tug. Oh, come on. Come on with the beating it. Beating the shit out of your own head when you do that. Give. All right, bye. I just realized what I did. Bad habit. Wasn't a fingernail. It was skin. But, now you bringing it back. I'm going to have to tell you to shut up again? Not that I said shut up. I think I said shut your ass up, didn't I? Something like that. Oh, he's in his bed. We're good. Okay, so here's the seed oil thing. But the title, the funny thing he did. So he was being a stinker. Teddy was. And usually, if I say Teddy bed, he is on his bed. Did you really just shake that over the back of your bed, ding dong? Back on the bed now. I bet you Queenie has. Teddy, come get Gator. And hello, J-Dub. You gonna get Gator like I asked you to? No? No, Gator's not on the television. Hello, Richard. So, anyway, Teddy was... You got Strongman? Well, bring me Strongman then. Are you gonna bring it to me? My goal is to... Really? Really? You want to say hi to Auntie Queenie? No, she right here. No, not on the TV. Auntie Queenie's right here. Come here. No, don't chase your tail. Don't chase your tail. I know you're bored. Auntie Queenie. Amaya, crazy girl. Hello? Teddy, you want to come say hi? Come say hi, Auntie Queenie. Yeah, you can say hi, Auntie Queenie. She right there. She right there. Oh, that lasted a while. So usually I say bed. He goes to his bed. Excuse you. We're not doing this game. Brought me a different toy. Oh, almost. Almost. And he's not going to bring it back. Because you can't squeak it at your sister. That's what I thought. Oh, I got Teddy. Don't slide my nose, dude. Oy, oy, oy. No, Ted. I understand, Penny. Just give him some space. It will give you some space. God willing. Teddy, no. Nope. Come here. So, he, thanks, Queenie. I told him to go to bed. He didn't. So, instead of doing that, he turned around and backed up into my knee, wanting me to put my arm over his back so that I would smack him on his leg, because he's got freaking muscles for days on his back legs. And that's not what I wanted him to do. I wanted him to go to bed. Well, he wouldn't. So I put my hands and pushed him towards the bed, and he kind of huffed and then went and laid in bed. No joke, he frigging huffed at me and laid in bed because I pushed him towards the board, shoved him towards the bed. Would you quit? Yes, I'm talking about you. Yes, I'm talking about you. No. Nope. You want to see about seed oils? Seed oils? Watch this. Okay, hold on. So. Yes, Teddy, seed oils, but we're not looking at it yet. We're looking at Teddy's bumhole. Sorry, guys. There we go. Oh, let me make sure.
In 1900, there were no seed oils. Most doctors had never even seen a heart attack. How do you get oil out of a sunflower seed? They're not very oily. You have to extract it with hexane, which is contaminated with benzene. If they didn't do this industrial process, it wouldn't even be palatable for humans.
No.
The average American eats the equivalent of 5 tablespoons of seed oils per day. Being sold to you as safe and healthy at Harvard and Mayo because it lowers your cholesterol based on a faulty paradigm is a major driver of illness today.
Seed oils.
Yeah, this is a good
Seed
one.
oils is something I've been wanting to dive in with somebody for a while.
Yeah.
So what is this with seed oils?
So, in 1900...
Knock it off
there
with
were
the
no seed
bells.
oils, essentially. Maybe the first seed oil was like 1860. But
Teddy,
no,
come.
There were no seed oils in the American food chain until 1911 when Procter & Gamble made Crisco, which was partially hydrogenated cottonseed oil. But so in 1900, there were no seed oils. And this is just an association, but I think it's an important thing to note for the whole conversation, because inevitably when we talk about seed oils, we will talk about saturated fat. So rates of heart disease, stroke, cancer, diabetes, obesity, every chronic illness were a fraction of what they are today in 1900.
I'm watching this with you guys, by the way.
99% of our fat as...
I have not watched this yet. And the only reason why I'm on my phone again is because I am... Yeah, Teddy and his TV, Queenie. I'm in here because, and I'll show you the disaster that is my office, so that you know I'm not bullshitting you. But yeah, and I have to make sure. Would you stop? Yes, I'm holding your ass because you won't stop at the bells. So stop it. I am. Let me hit this before I forget. I have been interested in this, and I've heard Sean Ryan say that he was interested about talking to somebody about seed oils previously. Last time it was with, oh shoot, what was that guy's name? What are you doing? Ew. Teddy, down. That thump was his ass into the side of my chair. All right, here we go.
Beef tallow, butter, ghee, and lard. There were no seed oils. And olive oil wasn't a big portion of our diet in 1900. There was no such thing as avocado oil. So most of our fat was animal fat in 1900. And the association there is striking to say, okay, we've had periods in recorded history not too long ago when we had almost all of our cooking fat was animal fat. And heart disease wasn't through the roof. So any hypothesis, any assumption that
sorry.
fat causes
Hold
heart
on.
disease needs to be questioned.
Hold on. I need to get this right. Better. Yes, I have a backlight on my TV. Excuse you. No. Come here. Now. Good boy. Bed. Teddy. Bed. Don't make me push your ass. Go on. Go on. Bed. You don't want to do bed, huh? All right. Teddy, down. Don't give me your butt. I don't want your butt. Sorry, you guys.
On a historical basis from the get-go.
Don't.
The seed oils came in 1911. Procter & Gamble made Crisco. They had slow adoption into our food supply.
No.
I would say over the next 40 years. In 1940s, with World War II, canola oil was produced for the first time, and it was used on ships because the seed oils stay slippery when they're wet. They're used as engine lubricants. Previously, they've been engine lubricants or lamp oil.
Oh, well, that's pleasant.
1940s, canola oil gets produced. Canola is an acronym that stands for Canadian Oil Low Acid. There's no such thing as a canola plant. It's a rapeseed plant. So that's just a canola oil sidebar, and I'll come back to canola oil. And then since 1940s, we've had the introduction of various oils into our food supply. Soybean oil, corn oil, canola, safflower, sunflower, peanut. These are all seed oils. Anything that comes from a seed is a seed oil. In terms of the actual an oil that comes from a seed. It's important to understand that olive and avocado are fruit oils. And I'll talk about those later, but those are not seeds. We don't make avocado oil from an avocado seed. We make it from the actual avocado pulp from the fruit.
No.
And olives are made from the fruit of the olive, not the seed of the olive. So there's a big difference. When you make an olive or an avocado oil, you just press the fruit, right? If you've seen an olive press, they either do it by centrifuge where they spin it and the oil goes out, or they have a big press and they kind of press the oil out and the oil comes out. How do you get oil out of a cotton seed or a soybean? They're not very oily. How do you get oil out of a sunflower seed or an ear kernel of corn? You have to go through this complex industrial process to refine the oil out of those things. So this is an interesting thing to consider. Today, in 2025, the average American eats the equivalent of around 5 tablespoons of seed oils per day. 1900, we had 0. To get 5 tablespoons of seed oil from corn, you'd have to eat 70 ears of corn. So you have to use massive amounts, 2.5+ pounds of soybeans to make 5 tablespoons of soybean oil. Similar figure with sunflower seeds, right? So these are...
By the way, I paused it because this gentleman's name is Paul Saladino, if you want to look it up after this. Sean Ryan's got a whole night. I think it's an hour and a half with him. Teddy, do you mind? Hey, Pimpin. You missed. Pimpin. Get out from under there. You're going to bang the camera. Yeah, you bang the camera. Would you stop? Both of you. Paul Saladino. And exposing the toxic Oh boy. Process.
5 tablespoons of seed oil per day. 1900, we had 0. To get 5 tablespoons of seed oil from corn, you have to eat 70 ears of corn. So you
Queenie, can you still hear even though Mr. Knucklehead over here is squeaking? Would you leave her alone? Teddy! Oh, excellent, Queenie. Thank you. Now, let me know if you can hear Mr. Saladino over Mr. Teddy.
So this is an interesting thing to consider. Today, in 2025,
Okay,
the
hold
average
on.
American eats the
Hey, Ted, you being a jerk. You know that, right? Go ahead, Penny. Go ahead. You can get back on the bed. Oh, she got chew stick. You missed out, Ted. Penny, really? You're going to chew it on the bed right next to him? That's going to be helpful. All right. That's a first. I have never seen her do that. That is insane. Oh, now Teddy's going to bark because it's next to her. The squeaky ball, I mean. Pardon me while I get the squeaky ball before Mr. Booger Nose here starts. Hey, you stay put. Let me get the stupid squeaky ball. There. Squeaky ball. You need to learn to stop dropping it near your sister. Okay? Alright, let's see if the volume's better.
and,
No TV,
around
Teddy.
5 tablespoons of seed oils per day.
Better?
1900, we had 0. To get 5 tablespoons of seed oil from corn, you have to eat 70 ears of corn. So
70.
you have to use massive amounts, 2.5 plus pounds of soybeans to make 5 tablespoons of soybean oil. Similar figure with sunflower seeds, right? So these are
You're such a
historically
ding-dong.
inappropriate amounts of
Whoa, whoa,
consumption
whoa,
of these
whoa.
substances. You never would have been exposed to this historically.
Whoa, whoa.
100 gallons.
Dude. Teddy. He's whipping that rope. He's whipping that. Yo, not over here. Knock yourself out. Really, Ted? Teddy. Auntie Queenie can see you. No, she's not up there. And yeah, that rope, well, was longer than he was when I bought it for him. Not anymore. Yeah. As he almost falls over backwards. What the hell was that? Why you bring me the rope? Why are you bringing me the rope? Why? So you can fall over again? he caught it going across the camera. That was great. Oh, Teddy, you're such a knucklehead. I love you, dog. All right, don't be a ding dong. Just watch the TV, okay?
They eat
Just
seeds
watch.
and nuts sometimes,
Ah,
especially when they're starving. I didn't see the dog eat a single seed or nut when I was there.
There.
So
See?
to get oil out of these things, you've done because of an industrial process
No.
that makes oils that are cheap, very profitable, and have very shelf stable. You have refining, bleaching, deodorizing. So you have to heat the oil to over 450 degrees Fahrenheit, which essentially damages the oil, oxidizes the oil, makes it rancid. You have
Ew.
to extract it with hexane, which is contaminated with benzene.
Ah.
You have to do sodium hydroxide
Teddy.
washing. You have to deodorize and bleach, because if they didn't do this industrial process, you would
Sit.
it wouldn't even be palatable for humans. So what you end up with on the back end is this historically inappropriate concoction of something that is now
That's
marketed
disgusting.
to humans as a healthy oil. How can that possibly be?
Healthy my ass!
An industrial hyper-processed food. Well, the whole reason that seed oils are told to us as healthy is because of the cholesterol idea. So we kind of have to talk about cholesterol anytime we talk about seed oils. So 1900, no real heart attacks in the population. Most doctors had never even seen a heart attack. Heart attacks became a thing in the zeitgeist in the United States in the 1950s when Eisenhower had his first heart attack. And I think it was 1955 he had his first heart attack. And that was around the time of a guy named Ansel Keys, who was very sort of opinionated. And he did this study called the 7 Countries Study, which he published later, that associated saturated fat consumption with higher levels of cholesterol and heart disease. But in retrospect, we know that he cherry-picked the data. He excluded countries where that association doesn't actually hold true. He included countries where it did hold true, but then he excluded places like France, Germany, and Switzerland where they eat a lot of saturated fat, but they don't have higher rates of heart disease. But nevertheless, this faulty study based on cherry picking, because of Ansel Keys' sort of persuasiveness and this obsession with heart disease in the 1950s, because Eisenhower had multiple heart attacks, and Eisenhower's cardiologist, Paul Dudley White, was influenced by Ansel Keys.
The fuck?
We suddenly began to believe as an American people that saturated fat, which raises cholesterol in many individuals, and we can talk about that, is a cause of heart disease. And then we'll table the discussion about cholesterol as a cause of heart disease.
Okay, I got a question. I have a question. What the fuck is it with doctors, researchers, fucking with their data? There's this trans shit that went on that she didn't like the data, so she didn't release it and all that bullshit. Then there's the freaking go back further, and there's the COVID bullshit that they didn't release that data. And then data, I guess it said it different. What happened to the scientific method, and what happened to truth in science is my question. Because this shit's getting old. Fucking researchers and bullshit like that. The fuck?
The moment, but we'll get back to that. So for years and years now, USDA policy around dietary guidelines has been based on the paradigm that saturated fat causes heart disease. And so if saturated fat causes heart disease, it must be bad. We must eat less butter. We should be eating margarine instead of butter, right? Tallow has gone out of our population. Most people don't even know what tallow is. You never see lard. What's healthier is Mazola corn oil. And there are ads from the 1960s and 70s for Mazola corn oil saying like, Susie polyunsaturated her family tonight. They're so funny to see. Like the companies were proud of the fact that they were using these polyunsaturated oils, because for so long we have been told that polyunsaturated fats are heart healthy and saturated fats are heart unhealthy. We've got it all reversed. It's all backwards.
No shit.
It's all backwards. So the reason it's backwards is because polyunsaturated fats are fragile and they become incorporated into all the membranes of our cells. And there are multiple studies showing that when we have more polyunsaturated fats in our diet, specifically seed oils, this LDL, which is often termed bad cholesterol, is more likely to oxidize, more likely to become damaged in our bloodstream. And that leads to heart disease in so many steps. Again, we also have to talk about the cholesterol piece and the heart disease piece with all this, so it's a little involved and it's tricky. But the idea is that polyunsaturated fats lower cholesterol a little bit, saturated fats raise cholesterol a little bit. So we've been told the polyunsaturated fats are healthy, and yet humans are eating less saturated fat, more polyunsaturated fats, and rates of heart disease are still skyrocketing, right? So it didn't do anything. It didn't fix
The fuck?
the epidemic of heart disease. Clearly, we've missed the boat here, and I would say we went in the completely wrong direction, especially since the 1980s. The consumption of soybean oil as the major seed oil consumed by humans has gone through the roof. And I mentioned this earlier in the podcast. You can look at human fatty tissue, adipose tissue, and you can see that over the last 60 to 80 years, we are really polyunsaturating ourselves. When we eat polyunsaturated
Isn't it
fat, we hold on
yellowy?
to it. Our bodies don't make polyunsaturated fat. Remember earlier when I talked about pigs and chickens as monogastric animals? These animals don't make polyunsaturated fats either. Ruminants can make polyunsaturated fats. So they don't hold on to polyunsaturated fats. They can get rid of them and they can make them. We cannot make polyunsaturated fats. So we need a little bit. And historically, as humans, we had a small amount of polyunsaturated fat in our diet, both as omega-3 and as omega-6. And omega-6 is the linoleic acid. Omega-3 is the kind of stuff you get from fish, generally speaking. Omega-6 and omega-3 have different pathways in the human body in terms of the downstream metabolites. We'll talk about that also. But historically, we never had much omega-6. 1% of our calories. Today, 10 to 15% of our calories is omega-6. Some people have 20% of their calories as omega-6 fatty acids. So we have a historical inconsistency here in what we're doing as humans. And that should raise the alarm. That should challenge us to ask questions. But because of the
Oh,
cholesterol
yeah.
piece, because this lipid hypothesis has been at the center of
Lipid
medicine
means
for
oils.
so long, since the 1950s with Eisenhower, and we've been told that cholesterol causes heart disease, we have really, I think, we've been misled.
Oh,
And so
go
the whole thing
figure.
is kind of this house of cards, in my opinion. When you understand that cholesterol doesn't cause heart disease, and this pisses people like Peter Attia off, and I would love to debate him on this, because he really believes cholesterol does cause heart disease. All respect to Peter Attia, the whole house of cards falls.
No matter where you're watching
Duh.
Sean Ryan Show from, if you get anything out of this, please like.
I thought that too. I thought that too. Go figure. Let me see. Yes. Oh yeah, the whole food pyramid is a friggin' scam. Yes, it is. Seed oils, dyes, processed foods cause cancer, heart disease. They're poisoning us. Yes. Use regular butter. Eat meat and veggies. There's something else that hold on, I need to go over here to Sean Ryan, because there was something else I watched the other day that might be, and it's my treat bag, because I know it wasn't there before, so let you guys know what it was. Okay, I haven't seen this. Or the one next to it.
We've been told that cholesterol causes heart disease. We've been misled. And so the whole thing is kind of this house
Yeah,
of
we
cards,
watched
in my
this
opinion.
part.
When you understand that cholesterol
Okay, yeah, we'll
doesn't...
watch this. Sorry. Where's the one that I watched? I don't think I watched the whole thing. I didn't. Well, I thought there was... Oh, it must be on the clips. Is that up higher? Nope. Sean Ryan Show. There it is. Clips. Oh, this one needs to be watched. This one I
Don't
did
eat
watch.
farm-raised fish, but even when it comes to wild fish, you have to realize that large wild fish, shark, some of the big tunas, swordfish, are very highly contaminated with heavy metals, such that in medicine, if a woman is pregnant, we say don't eat that in your pregnancy.
Yeah.
It has a lot of
Yeah.
mercury.
What are those fish again?
The biggest ones,
or-
swordfish, shark, and some of the big tunas. Even mahi, pretty high. The bigger the fish, the higher it is up the food chain, and the more it accumulates heavy metals. The smaller fish have less heavy metals, but they still have significant amounts. There are documented cases of mercury poisoning from eating sushi. And, sushi could be a mix of salmon plus tuna.
Which
But
sucks,
if you ate
because I
tuna
love
every
sushi.
day, you would unequivocally see the levels of heavy metals, mostly mercury, but also cadmium, arsenic, and lead in your body go up, just geometrically.
Fuck.
So this is the problem. And some
Hey,
tuna
Chris.
is better than other tunas, but tuna is such a big fish that it just has a lot of heavy metals. And this probably wasn't an issue for fish 200-300 years ago.
Mhm.
We have this industrial cycle where we put these pollutants into the air and then they go into the ocean and they bioaccumulate in the food chain. And we've done this to the ocean. We've created this problem of pollution in the ocean with fish. Even wild-caught fish has a significant amount of microplastics.
Fuck.
Microplastics
Fuck.
are things, there's little tiny
Fuck. Where's the other one? Microplastics are in everything. I think that's this one that I watched.
There are microplastics in
Yep.
all,
Hold on.
there are
Don't jump the
microplastics
gun
in
here.
all of us.
All right, now I know we just watched part of this. It was a short. I thought it was what I watched the other day. This is something that y'all are going to be... Oh, and that's the noise you're hearing. Because Miss Penny was chewing on it. The second she got up, guess what Teddy did? And I got Miss Pen right here with me. Yep, I said your name. Mm-hmm. All right. Thank you, Chris. Hey, Jamie. All right, I need to zoom this in a little bit, I think. All right. There's this guy. Paul Saladino. Queenie, can you put his link up again? Just because I want folks to go ahead and look him up. And also, y'all check Sean Ryan out, because he's got a lot of good information on a lot of very different topics. A lot of very different topics.
Plastics in human testicles, in human brains. There is no such thing as wild Atlantic.
Okay.
There are microplastics in all of us. There are microplastics in human testicles, in human brains. There is no such thing as wild Atlantic salmon. It would be white if you didn't feed it more coloring. Tony Robbins is a good example of this. I always get a little sad when I see people feeding their dogs kibble. Humans are the only species that's kind of forgotten this. We don't know what we're supposed to eat. I'm not saying that we shouldn't eat chicken and pork. I'm just making a case for...
A lot of talk about hormones in the meats and all this kind of stuff. And how poisoned is the beef, poultry, pork section, fish section? You know, you can't even find wild-caught salmon. You have to order it online.
Right. Yeah, so every one of those is a little bit... I'll talk about each of them individually. Let's start with fish. So you point this out correctly. When you go, and I've done a lot of videos on this, when you go to Costco or wherever you buy fish, there is no such thing as wild Atlantic salmon. All Atlantic salmon is farm-raised. And they'll say Atlantic salmon, and then it'll say small letters farm-raised. And most of us have heard that farm-raised fish is much worse than wild-caught fish because it has PCBs, which are polychlorinated biphenyls, and they're feeding these fish food. They're feeding them basically the equivalent of a Big Mac is what they're feeding the fish in the tank that are farm-raised, right? And there are parallels across all the species. I have a dog, and I feed my dog raw meat, raw organs, and bone.
I wish I could afford that.
I always get a little sad when I see people feeding their dogs kibble. And again, this is no judgment if people feed their dogs kibble. I understand that there are financial limitations, and not everyone is going to feed their dog just raw animal foods. But there are better and worse types of kibbles. The majority of kibble for dogs is full of seed oils and really badly processed grains full of pesticides. Well, essentially what they're feeding, the lowest quality kibble that you're feeding to a dog is what they're feeding to fish, give or take. So you're feeding your fish kibble in a farm-raised salmon operation, and the fish are just less healthy. They accumulate pesticides, pharmaceuticals, contaminants, microplastics, and PCBs. And so farm-raised fish is not something that humans should be eating. Most people don't know this, but every time I talk about it, it gets a lot of engagement. Farm-raised salmon has coloring added, and sometimes they use beta-carotene, which is a natural coloring, but those farm-raised salmon are not getting the nutrients necessary to make things like astaxanthin, which gives fish its normal pink color in the wild because they're not eating algae. They have to give the fish extra color. So farm-raised salmon would be the color of tilapia or sea bass. It would be white if you didn't feed it more coloring. And so don't eat farm-raised fish. But even when it comes to wild fish, you have to realize that large wild fish, shark, some of the big tunas, swordfish, are very highly contaminated with heavy metals, such that in medicine, if a woman is pregnant, we say don't eat that in your pregnancy. It has a lot of mercury.
No
What are those fish again?
The biggest ones, swordfish, shark, and some of the big tunas. Even mahi, pretty high. The bigger the fish, the higher it is up the food chain, and the more it accumulates heavy metals. The smaller fish have less heavy metals, but they still have significant amounts. There are documented cases of mercury poisoning from eating sushi. And, sushi could be a mix of salmon plus tuna. But if you ate tuna every day, you would unequivocally see the levels of heavy metals mostly mercury, but also cadmium, arsenic, and lead in your body go up just geometrically. So this is the problem. And some tuna is better than other tunas, but tuna is such a big fish that it just has a lot of heavy metals. And this probably wasn't an issue for fish 200-300 years ago.
Mhm.
We have this industrial cycle where we put these pollutants into the air and then they go
Yeah.
into the ocean
Just watch that.
and they bioaccumulate in the food chain. And we've done this to the ocean. We've created this problem of pollution in the ocean with fish. Even wild-caught fish has a significant amount of microplastics. Microplastics are things, there's little tiny fragments of plastic
Teeny
that
tiny.
hold on to because they're plastic. They kind of magnetize, quote unquote. They get stuck to other chemicals, whether it's organic chemicals, other pesticides. So microplastics themselves are these microscopic or nano type size plastics, and we think about this in terms of like plastic water bottles, but plastic cutting boards. Our biggest exposures are probably those, but fish is quite high in microplastics. And you know they've done studies now showing that there are microplastics in all of us. There are microplastics in human testicles, in human brains. There is an appreciable amount of
In a
microplastic
fucking
in
brain.
all of our brains. In terms of like, it's not even micrograms, it's like, I think the actual number is milligram. It's like, I'd have to look at the number. It might be 0.5 milligram of microplastic in all of our brains.
Holy
And this is just
shit.
from things that we're eating in our bodies, bringing into our bodies. So fish have microplastics, even wild caught, they have heavy metals, they have forever chemicals, which are called PFAs.
Teddy.
You've been hearing a lot about these. And so I would not recommend that people make the majority of their protein from fish. We'll get to it in this interview because we'll talk about why red meat has become so vilified. I think that well-raised red meat is my preference for
No.
protein source for humans.
No.
But that's the one that gets the most hate,
Come
right?
here.
Because it has more saturated fat, and we'll talk about why that
Teddy,
is.
come.
But a lot of people trying to be healthy don't eat red meat and they eat fish, thinking that fish is healthier, but you are accumulating
Sit.
heavy metals, microplastics, forever chemicals, etc. when you are eating fish every day.
Teddy, did you
So you
just
must
fart?
check that. And there are
Jerk.
many of high-profile cases of people getting heavy metal toxicity from pescatarian diets.
Good
Tony
girl
Robbins
down.
is a good example of this. So that's the sort of dismal outlook on fish.
Sit.
Pork and chicken are grouped together. These are monogastric animals. So in contrast to ruminant animals, so
Four stomachs.
elk, bison, deer, antelope, cows, those are ruminants. Pigs and chicken are monogastric animals. Humans are also
down.
monogastric, and that will be relevant later when we talk about seed oils. But monogastric animals are
No.
problematic because they accumulate polyunsaturated fats. And a pig or a
Teddy's
chicken
down.
is not meant to eat a lot of corn and soy. That's most of what
Never
they're fed
be, Ted.
today. So most of the big operations around chicken, even
No.
eggs for chickens and pork
No.
pigs, are feeding them grains, which are corn and soy.
Bed.
And so you can see historically, and there's actual research done about this, that the fatty acid composition of these animals changes based on what they eat. It does the same for humans.
Mhm.
We can see derivatives of seed oils accumulating in human fat over the last 80 years because we're eating more of these seed oils, which come from corn and soy. And so
Teddy.
the fat of a chicken doesn't look like the fat of an ancestral wild chicken.
Mhm.
The amount of linoleic acid, which is an 18 carbon polyunsaturated fat, is much higher in a chicken fed corn and soy than it would be in a chicken eating what a chicken is supposed to eat, which is bugs and worms and maybe a mouse every once in a while in the field. Chickens are pretty omnivorous, and pigs are the same way. Pigs root. They're supposed to eat, they will eat small animals too. And they're supposed to eat,
watch
tubers and things, but when you feed a pig corn and soy, the fat of the pig changes composition. And these grains that most chickens and pigs are fed are not organic, and so you're getting bioaccumulation of
No.
pesticides. So you're getting glyphosate. I'm not saying that we shouldn't eat chicken and pork. I'm just making a case for maybe a
No.
hierarchy of quality. If you're going to
No.
eat chicken and pork, look for something that's pastured from a farmer that you know. I don't want perfect to be the enemy of good for anyone, but there are considerations for each of these meats as we go up, as we go along the food chain. So I personally don't eat a lot of chicken and pork because it's hard to find people that are letting their chickens really range and actually eat what they're supposed to eat. The same with pigs. And when we
Good
talk about
organic.
seed oils, we'll talk about why I think excess linoleic acid is a problem for humans. It's a little technical, so I'll save it for this moment, but we'll get to it. But if you're going to eat pork, which is delicious and does have nutrients that are good for humans, and many cultures do eat pigs, or chicken, try and get something that's organic. So that means the grains they're feeding the animals are organic, so you're not getting as much pesticide contamination. Even better, get it from a farmer at a farmer's market that is letting their animals kind of
Teddy.
go more pastured in the setting.
Sit.
And then you have beef, bison, elk, let's call it red meat, lamb. So what's interesting about these animals is there
Good
is
granddad.
a growing sector of the farming market, that agriculture market, where you can buy a grass-fed cow. Grass-fed, grass-finished. Ruminant animals are supposed to eat grass their whole life. That's what they do. In fact, I think there were surveys done in the 1800s that looked at the United States, and there were something like over 50 million ruminants in the United States. So elk, antelope, pronghorn, bison, that's what made sort of the American West, and why that land was so fertile. We've monocropped it and decreased the quality of the soil, but the reason the American West of Louisiana and the Mississippi was so fertile was because these animals were eating grass and pooping and peeing on the land and then stomping and putting all these nutrients from their poop into the land, which makes a healthy soil, and that makes a healthy grass, and it just is part of this grassland ecosystem. So these animals are meant to eat grass, and cows are kind of a cousin of bison. And when a cow eats grass, you can see the difference in the steaks. I've done this in my content. You can see the color of the fat and the color of the meat is different. The fat of an animal that eats grass its whole life is much more orange because of the beta carotene and other carotenoids in the grass that it's eating. A grain-fed cow has very white fat. And to be fair, a lot of grain-fed cattle are actually grain-finished. Most of their life, they're eating grass, but the last 15%, they're taken to a feedlot where they're given lower quality grains and it makes them fat. And then the farmers can get
I remember
more
this part.
money for them because they're a bigger animal and they sell them by the pound.
Yep.
So ideally, and again, don't let perfect be the enemy of good, any red meat is healthy for humans and provides benefits for us and is full of nutrients. But ideally, if you can source or find or afford a grass-fed, grass-finished meat, like a grass-fed hamburger or steak, it's going to be more full of nutrients and less full of problematic things that come with grains. Again, you're having pesticide accumulation in the meat, microplastics, PFAs, all that kind of stuff comes when they're fed grains at the end of their life. It's not the end of the world, and I've eaten grain-fed, grain-finished meat, and some people prefer it because of the taste, but I do think there's a pretty solid case that a grass-fed, grass-finished cow is the closest thing that most people will get to eating a wild animal. Wild game is probably one of the healthiest things we can eat, depending where it's ranging, right? An animal that's eating what it's supposed to eat, and this applies to humans also, is going to be a healthier animal. And all of us are different species, but there is, I think, in all of us, a genetic programming in terms of what we are meant to eat. Humans are the only species that's kind of forgotten this because we've become so separated from the actual gathering and hunting of our food, so we don't know what we're supposed to eat.
So when we go to the store and it says grass-fed beef, can we trust that, or does that mean, hey, this was fed grass the first 6 months of its life and then great?
The way the labeling is now, if it says grass-fed, it really should be fed grass its whole life. There's an asterisk there because some farmers can get away with this by feeding hay, which is not fresh grass on a field, or even grass pellets. So there was a picture or a video that went around the internet recently of cows indoors getting fed grass, and that is grass-fed. It's not ideal, but it's better than a grain-fed cow on a clustered or concentrated feeding animal operation, so a CAFO, or a factory farm. So grass feeding is better, and again, see the cows that you're eating and you're talking to a farmer, that's the best thing. I know it's not possible for everyone listening to the podcast, but if you can understand the quality of your meat and where it's coming from and how it's raised, that's better. So grass feeding and grass finishing ideally should be cows on pasture, outdoors, pooping and peeing on the land, because that's also better for the land. That's the way it should be. If it says grass-fed in the store, it really is meant, unless the farmer is being totally duplicitous, it should be fed grass its whole life. There's an interesting little sidebar here, and I will call Whole Foods out for this. and I've done content on this.
Ooh.
There is meat
That's
at
right.
Whole Foods that says grass-fed or grass-finished, and there's meat at Whole Foods that says pasture-raised. And so that pasture-raised designation
This
does
part
not mean the cow is eating grass its whole life.
Okay.
And you can ask the butchers at Whole Foods, and they will be forthcoming with you and say it was on pasture and then it was fed grains at the end of its life. So that's where it gets confusing for consumers, because pasture-raised
Yeah.
sounds pretty good to me,
Yeah.
but that's not a grass-finished cow. And do I
That's
think that
pretty
eating
fucked
grain-fed meat is bad for humans? No. I think that eating grass-fed, grass-finished meat is better for humans and better for the ecosystem in which the cow is raised.
No matter where you're watching Sean Ryan Show from, if you
Believe that
get
shit?
anything out of this, please like.
Can you believe that shit? Teddy, stop with the bells, man. So, that was great news, wasn't it? That one, I watched that one the other day, but I was getting up and doing stuff at the same time, so I didn't remember all of it. But a few parts I did. Hi, Teddy. Hi, Teddy. Yes, everybody loves you. No, you cannot get on that. What are you doing? What are you doing? Where you going? He's going to ring the bells again. Oh, Teddy Slime. Teddy Slime! No bells. You gotta wait. I'm almost done. I'm almost done. Yeah. So, that was... Sorry for the shitty information. This one was the only one that I had watched. This little piece. And I remembered it when I showed you the other one that I hadn't watched with you guys.
There were microplastics
Nope.
in
Move your butt, Teddy. I can't use the controller on the TV if your butt's in the way, you butthead. Oh man. So, the government's lying to us. Go figure. With that, I'm gonna go a little early. Oh wait, I did say I was gonna show you my office. Ow. I did say I was gonna show you my office so you knew that I wasn't bullshitting you and I said it was a wreck. Hold on. It's a wreck. So my desk is usually over here. And because I moved it, my monitor is on the wall. Hold on, I'll squeeze past that. So my monitor, this is where I have been putting the camera. And the monitor, that's as far as it goes over. So I had to move my main computer from this side to this side. So, yeah, fun. Fun in the sun. Well, not really. No sun having to do with that. Oh, ouch. That hurt. So, I wasn't bullshitting you. I am going to go ahead and go because Mr. Ted is at the bells again. And you remember back when Duke was still here and Mr. Ted would ring the bells and I wouldn't listen? If I wasn't out here, he would destroy things. So, alright, I get the point. Dude, seriously, I'm right here. Teddy, I'm right here. You don't... Don't look at me, Pen. It's not my fault. You're such a shithead. Oh, I forgot to mention. This morning I let Mr. Man here out. Penny, you want to go outside? Come on, Pen. I let Mr. Man out. And somebody threw an apple in the backyard and he was running around because he thought it was a ball. scared the living poop out of me because that is actually my worst nightmare. Is somebody throwing some food over the fence and poisoning my dog. Or dogs. Sorry, Are you serious with the stick right now? Trying to fix I've got some solar lights that I want to put up. Really? Really, dude? Really with the stick? Well, hello, Pen. Yes, I know, I have the treat bag. Dude, that stick's bigger than you. Really? I know, Pen. I know. She's gotten so much more white on her little face. All here, on her little eyes, all her little eye patches here on both sides were jet black. And the only white she had was the little tuft in the center. The little tuft right here in the center of her ear. That was the only white that was in her ear. Now this white all along the side, that's new. That's age white. Just like all the rest on her little face. All that. Honey, you're doing good, girl. Yes, you are. See, I got the camera on the side. But if I put over here, there's the face. You're a silly girl. Oh, you're a silly girl. Yeah. She's, little Pep's getting a little old. And I don't like it. And it is actually warm enough that I can... Excuse you, Teddy. Good boy business. Now I know why he was banging the shit out of the bells. Good job. Come on. Come on. You want chicken rolly? Ooh, chicken rolly. All right. Come on, so we can do chicken rolly so we can finish. Oh, chicken rolly. Chicken rolly. All right, you guys. Oy, oy, oy. So, with that wonderful news, which I apologize for that wonderful news, I will let y'all go. Ground crew, you are the best. Thank you for bearing with me as I try and fix shit at my disabled vet pace. I appreciate it. Got a lot of doctor's appointments coming up, so I'll keep y'all in the loop on that. Nothing newsy as far as health concerns. There is one bit of good news. I start SANS again, 1 April. I love you, ground crew, and I'll see you on the next one. Ted!